welcome back. And now time for us to venture into the virtual world where all you socialites and social, whatever you call it, live and breathe and talk about stuff every day. And the woman to do that for us is Ursula Harrison. Ursula, welcome.
Thank you.
I haven't seen you in like, okay, no, I haven't shared a platform with you like forever.
Yeah, in months.
Yeah. It seems like forever, right?
Forever, right? Since AM show days.
Yeah.
Oh.
Actually, it was last year.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's been forever.
Yeah. Good. So what are you talking about, you and your people?
Sharia law in Ghana.
Really?
Do you think it could happen?
Really? Is someone proposing or do we have it?
It's being proposed.
Sad.
Yeah, let me break it down for you guys at home. Adulterous women should be hanged and stoned to death day in, day out in Afghanistan. If you go behind your husband, they hang you. And that quote definitely wasn't mine. It was from MP for Daboya Makarigu, Nelson Abudubani. Guess what? He wants such a provision to be included in the interstate succession bill currently before Parliament. I'm Ursula Harrison. Let's get interactive.
Joy News Interactive is brought to you in association with
Surfline. It's about time.
Get in touch with us via all our social media platforms. We're on facebook.com/Joy News on TV. Find us on Twitter at Joy News on TV or at JN Interactive GH. Also send us an email to joynewsim@multitvworld.com or send your messages through on WhatsApp. The number is 054-010-9009. The number again is 054-010-9009. And I will read your comments and share them with the rest of the world. Remember, JNI is proudly supported by Surfline. Surfline, it's about time. Now, it is said that if you want to be popular, you either do something very great or something very bad. Well, I am not here to judge, but I guess MP for Daboya Nelson Abudubani has said something very controversial. He is now making headlines. Let's check out his first headline story on my Joy Online, and I pray I can show you exactly what the article says, but I will read it to you. A Ghanaian member of parliament has preferred hanging or stoning to death as the best punishment for women who engage in adulterous acts. Day in, day out in Afghanistan, if you go behind your husband, they hang you. The MP for Daboya Makarigu in the northern region said, suggesting that stoning adulterous women should be included in the interstate succession bill before Parliament. If parliamentarians add that to the bill, we will get very genuine women in families, he said. The MP Nelson Abudubani proposed this form of punishment while contributing to a debate on the interstate succession bill. The bill has reached its second stage of consideration after it was first introduced in 2009. The rest of the article is on myjoyonline.com. So this is what this MP is saying. Now, before we talk to women rights activists, let's hear what the public thinks about the issue.
Absolutely nonsense for a person. He's not supposed to be in power anyway. People like that you can say that they are dictators. People who want to enforce their will or their desires on the rights of others. These are not the leaders. These are dictators. He's not supposed to be in power anyway. He's not supposed to be in power. For a person to open his mouth to say such a statement, you clearly know that if he has his will or his way, he can impose his will on people, which is very wrong. It's never right, no matter what the woman did. That guy or whoever has no right to lay a hold. Yes, they don't have right to do that.
No, I'm not in support. We should rather pray for them for them to change, not to stone them to death, because you are trying to tell us we should stone the person to death for the person to die in her sin. Yes, so it's uncalled for, and I'm sorry for the minister. The minister should come back again.
We are a Christian nation, so we can't, bring some laws whereby it's from the Arab nation to our country. And secondly, in the Bible, we all knew that when you sin against God, because adultery is a sin against God. So when you sin against God, God himself had a punishment for you. God himself had a punishment for you. So if this man will be coming in with this kind of stoning matter and things, can we ask him whether he had never sinned before? Because every human being on earth is a sinner, but we are all trying to be righteous. And first of all, if you are a Christian and even you are born again, there are some errors in your life. Most of them, they are articles of no use. I'm telling you, they are there as if they are not human beings. And when they get to that position, they think they are, they are above everything. We are all students, and we've gone to school before, so they shouldn't think for us.
If someone does something, and you see that the person are wrong or something weird, you can't say you have to stone the person. If you go to the Bible, Jesus asked them, those who know that you didn't sin before, stone that woman. And everyone step back. You get it? Everyone is a sin. It's a sin. And the other one, you can sin. I can sin to you, you can sin to me. And the why I say if I sin now, you are saying that you stone me. For what? For what reason? I don't understand it. We should leave it to God. Only God can punish us, not human being.
I don't think it's a good idea, because one, we have men that commit adultery. And the question is, what do we do to those men? Should women always be marginalized? Should women always be put under pressure? Not to do other things. Imagine, let's put it for instance, it could have been a mistake that as a result of that, a seed came out from it. You don't expect to kill that woman or stone her to death just because she committed adultery. What do you do to men when they commit adultery? We have men that have even up to more than 10 wives. We have chiefs that have about 30 wives. What do you do to them? So this is actually human abuse, and it's against the right. I don't think it's...
Married women, okay, as they are married, they are not supposed to commit any adultery, but it's due to a reason or circumstances that allow them to go out to commit that adultery, and the reason should be known first. Maybe it's a genuine reason, but I don't support the idea that they should be stoned to death, especially immediately they find out that they commit their adultery.
I don't support it because every human being is born and he's not perfect. So if someone should make a mistake, we should not punish the person for it, but we should try to create measures that can correct that mistake the person has made. And I believe that it's two people involved, so it should not be one person who will be punished for the crime.
And you're still watching Joy News Interactive with me, Ifwa Akwa Harrison. We are talking Sharia law possibility in Ghana. One of the MPs is suggesting that, it be incorporated into the interstate succession law that is currently before Parliament. Let's listen to him.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I have some small contribution on this issue. I want members at this time to reject it because apart from offences that are not kept into the system, this bill will bring a lot of controversy in my area, especially me.
Oh, I can't hear you.
Mr. Speaker, I went through page 10 and I saw the definition of parents, and they said it includes the natural mother and natural father. Because some of these women are lomojates in their houses. So if maybe a woman that are married bring me back her, what is the offenses for those type of women? What type of punishment do you give to them? That is why I like to say that unless this clause is added, punishment for women who are not faithful, we should not adopt this bill.
So, punishment, but now what on your husband, we punish them when I said them as a Muslim. They hungry. They hungry. So they are more to say from Afghanistan anyway, or back if you go and if you go behind your husband, they hungry. They still need to death. So if they add that one, then we'll have very genuine, your marriage. So what you are proposing is that when you have been away for the meantime, the interstate law, and a lot of consultation. Let's go to the ground before we come and pass it. And yes, sir, punishment it's in favor. Yeah, man, me say it doesn't favor me.
Soundbite of MP for Daboya Nelson Abudu Bani. I can't believe he said that. But you know something, most of your comments coming through on social media, it's the men talking and they are against this. But let's hear from one of our very prominent women. Ursula Owusu Akufo is the MP for Ablekuma West. Welcome to Joy News Interactive, madam.
Thank you very much, and good evening to your viewers and listeners.
Good evening. Now, what is your reaction to what your colleague for Daboya Nelson Abudu Bani said?
I'd like to think that he said it in jest, and he wasn't serious about that. Because in the first place, we don't practice Sharia law. Nobody is stoned to death in this country. And what constitutes a crime which would merit that kind of treatment is in our criminal code. And adultery is not a criminal offense. Now, when we're talking about distribution of property of a deceased person, when it comes to their children, whoever the deceased accepts and names as the child is treated as a child for purposes of distribution of his intestate estate. And so, even if, for the sake of argument, it wasn't a biological child of the deceased, but it was an adopted child of the deceased, that child would still benefit as a child for purposes of the intestate succession law. So really, unless my colleague had no knowledge or information about what the state of our law is currently, or what the state of the law is currently, then I would just pardon him that he just didn't know. And it's even more interesting when you realize that he's only talking about women being stoned or hanged for adultery and producing children out of wedlock, but not men.
Now, can you can you tell us what is in the bill before Parliament that was so controversial to move the MP to say what he said?
Well, I wasn't in the House at the time this particular aspect of the bill was being debated. But generally, there are some problems with the intestate succession law, which have come out since 1985 that we've been implementing this particular intestate succession law. One, there's a difference there should be a difference in the way children who are below the age of 18 and are still in school are treated as against adult children, which is not what the current law says. So all children get the same share of the property, regardless of the fact that they may be 50 or 5. And so this law seeks to make a distinction between the proportion which would go to dependent children and adult children. It also talks about fragmentation of the property and gives a bigger share to spouses who may have contributed to the acquisition of the property, that their share, their contribution to the acquisition of the property will be taken out before the rest is distributed. It does a lot of other things too, but I think what got the MP's goat was the fact that all children would benefit under the law, and he didn't seem to think that if there was a problem with the paternity of a child, that child should benefit. But our law is gender neutral. So if he wants this punishment to be given for children born out of wedlock, the parents of children born out of wedlock, then it should be either the man, both the man and the woman, not just the woman. You can't just stone a woman and leave the man to walk scot-free. And if we apply it, or we even think about it that way, you'd realize that more men would fall foul of the law than women. Because it is when most people die, most men die, that you realize the actual number of children that they have. Because some children keep coming up at the funeral to claim that they are the children of the deceased, and family members admit that yes, indeed, they were aware of the existence of that children. So the widow and the recognized children will just have to accept them because the deceased named them. So let's discuss this issue dispassionately and put matters exactly where they are supposed to be, and then we'll realize that there really is no call for it. If there's an issue about the paternity of the child during the lifetime of the deceased, they should resolve it. Right now, there's DNA testing which can put this issue beyond to rest and beyond doubt. So if any person doubts the paternity of his own children, they can resort to that and resolve that matter. As for stoning to death, it is a Stone Age treatment that we should not countenance under any circumstances in this country. We do not practice Sharia law in Ghana.
All right. Thank you very much, Ursula Owusu, MP for Ablekuma West. Now, Benisam is a women's rights activist with WODAF. Welcome to GN Interactive.
Thank you.
Now, what is your reaction to the statement that adulterous women should be stoned?
Well, let me concur with what the Honourable Member of Parliament, Ursula Owusu, has said. In fact, everything I'll say is what she has said. I fully endorse the statement she has just made. The fact that Ghana has gender-neutral laws, this particular law is applicable to all persons who have died without leaving a will, whether it's the male or female, albeit that the law tends to lean in favor of women because we know from our history and even currently, despite the existence of PNDC Law 111, that often when a spouse passes on and a widow or widows are left, often they suffer. So the memorandum to the law explains that it's the history where women suffer, hence the need to ensure that widows and widowers do not go through any problems because they have lost a loved one. As Ursula mentioned, as the Honourable MP mentioned, this law seeks to address the gaps that are in existence with the current law, that is PNDC Law 111. So honestly, I endorse everything she has just said.
But what does it show for a whole MP to make a statement like that before the floor of Parliament?
Well, as the Honourable Member Ursula explained, he was reacting to the fact that in some parts of the country, children who are born outside of wedlock are not considered the children of either the man. Although in Ghana's law, we do not have any illegitimate children. As long as you accept a child as yours, the parent has a responsibility to care for that child, and that child has a right to inherit the parent. So he was reacting from the context, the area he's coming from. However, we know that in Ghana, our constitution says that any customary practices that are injurious or are harmful to the person that the customary practice is meted out against is unconstitutional. So one would expect that lawmakers, policymakers, media persons, anyone at all, any Ghanaian who is speaking on any customary issue should bear in mind that the Constitution promotes and protects the rights of all persons.
All right.
So if there are any customary practices that are not in consonance with the Constitution, then of course the Constitution reigns supreme. So it's unfortunate that such a statement was made, but it should be understood within the context
within which it was made. Yes. All right. Thank you very much. Sam is with WILDAF. We have your comments on Facebook and social media coming up after this. want to hear from you. Do you think adulterous women should be hanged and stoned to death like MP for Daboya Nelson Abudubani is suggesting in Parliament? Let me just quickly read a few of your comments. And Baba Musa Tamale, actually I lost your comment. Okay, Yankee Benjamin, I don't get you. What a beautiful law, but men should be excluded. So that's Yankee Benjamin. Michael Bonsu says Ghana is not an Islamic state. Hudu Gunu says nice idea. Really, Hudu? But do you think it will be materialized? Let's wait to see. Yado Dabri from Binde says, in the first place, Ghana is not Afghanistan, so that point is nullified. By the way, is this a taboo or a law? Let me conclude by saying that this is more than outmoded. It's an outmoded practice and need not be mentioned in Ghana. Thank you. Kabat Nelson Sibkis, that will be the craziest thing we can ever do as a nation. Besides, we are all sinners. Let no one who has never sinned throw the first. Let the one who has never sinned throw the first stone. And Nuakba, God knows, Billy. What a harsh, insensitive punishment suggested by an honorable member of parliament. And what should happen to the men if caught? Who cheats in the relationship marriage most? Should this MP become president one day, what do you think will happen to us? In fact, this doesn't hold. These are a few of your comments coming through on Facebook. Well, let's hop off to Lord. Let's see what he has for what's trending.
Thank God it's Friday. Well, I come here bearing news, and it's up to you to decide whether it's good or bad. The 2015 African Cup of Nations Cup is finally going to take place, and the country hosting it is Equatorial Guinea. Any memories? There have been several reactions to this picking by CAF. Let's go to Twitter and check out what people are saying. Equatorial Guinea's punishment for fielding an ineligible player is hosting 2015 AFCON? What? Well, CAF for you. This is a tweet from Daniel Story. The week in football, FIFA corruption, AFCON in country with awful human rights record, convicted rapist back training. The beautiful game. Okay, Daniel. CAF appointed a country that was originally disqualified to host AFCON for next year. LOL. Yeah, I know, right? Lipo gang. This is from Yemi. The Orange Africa Cup of Nations 2015 will be held in Equatorial Guinea. Tournament to run from January 17th to 8th February. And this is from Mr. Bunny. Equatorial Guinea to host 2015 AFCON. Morocco has been suspended for refusal to host the event. True. Morocco is no longer hosting AFCON, so now it is Equatorial Guinea. That's from Jonathan Owens. Sound excited, John? Another from Yemi. That leaves one of Africa's smallest countries with 2 months to prepare for the AFCON 2015. Yeah, we are in November. Short time. Right. Equatorial Guinea to host AFCON? I'm blanked out here. Don't know what to say or think. It's good it's gonna finally hold though. Amazing, isn't it? But CAF did live up to expectation. They promised to make sure the tournament will take place, and they have fulfilled it. Let's just hope the tournament will be an enjoyable and safe one. This has been What's Trending. My name is Lord Cozy.
AFCON is happening.
Yeah, after all.
After all.
At long last.
Are you going?
I don't know.
Yeah,
are you going or not?
Are you going?
Well, Obipe. Some say Ebola, what. Equatorial Guinea say, well, we will host it. So
well, maybe it's something to take people's minds off, the crisis in West Africa. Yeah. So, hey, let's see how it goes.
Yeah, exactly. So that's our show for today. I'm Nia Kofi Smatabe.
My name is Efua Kwa Harrison. Enjoy the weekend.
Have a great one. We'll see you next week. Joy News Interactive was brought to you in association with
Surfline. It's about time.